I agree with you on that one.
Yeah. Well, you just had this experience tonight of, everything being tampered with and stuff like that. That's
Absolutely.
going on all the time, yeah.
Yes, and somehow my phone was taken over, for about an hour, and, it was definitely malicious. From what I could tell, I mean, it wasn't any kind of freak thing. It was something that, was intentional, and I certainly don't consider myself important enough to consider myself worthy of tampering with.
Me neither, no, I hear you.
So it just seems kind of foolish, but indeed, there was something that went on. Of course, it could be part of all of the stuff that you mentioned in your books, which, is going to happen. Now, you've been able to tap into so much indigenous wisdom through the Mayan elders and Drunvalo and so on and so forth, and I loved his work as well.
Yeah.
But he brings so much stuff forward as well that seems to be the most accurate assessment of what we might be going through during the pole shift, because it appears that we will be going through one, right?
Yes, it's funny, the whole thing with that is that it's part of her process. It's part of Mother Earth's process. She goes through this every 13,000 years. All right, and that isn't just the lunatics and the psychics talking. That's the scientists talking. And anybody who wants to jump down that rabbit hole can just look at Immanuel Velikovsky's stuff and go from there.
Oh, right. This has all been documented and proven at the scientific levels. And
Drunvalo understands it and can speak about it really, really clearly. And the shift is actually something that, is being portrayed to us through the Hollywood mechanism and through a lot of the fear-based stuff that comes out of some of the Christian traditions, as this apocalyptic event in which the sinners are weeded out and everybody else gets to, go to paradise or be received into the loving arms of the, benevolent God, whatever. And that's really all we've heard about it, except that we've seen movies that have portrayed all of this cataclysmic stuff for us. So the fear thing is there, but there's no education going on. And when you really start digging around, and it doesn't take much, you go to the indigenous elders because they are the ones that are coming forward with all of this information, and you find out that they have retained the records, of what happened to them during the last cataclysm, because all of those records have been passed down, and they are stored in the crystal skulls, and they are stored in the oral traditions. People don't really understand what the crystal skulls are all about, and the ones that are floating around out there aren't necessarily aren't the real thing. Let's put it that way.
Right, exactly. Now that you brought that up, would you like to talk a little bit about the idea of the 12 crystal skulls and when they come together, and there's a 13th that's on the etheric level or something?
Well, I think the 13th skull actually exists on the physical level as well, and my understanding of the skulls was that they hold, each one holds 1,000 years worth of information. All right.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, and during the 1,000 years, that the information and the records were being written down, there was one person that was chosen to hold and keep those records, or one spiritual entity. And that was their job, was to keep track of everything. And then at a certain moment in time, what would happen is they were given a drug, and the drug induced death, but at that point their spirit slipped into the crystal, slipped into the skull. And so all of the information from that 1,000-year period is stored within the spirit that has given up their life to enter into that skull and hold the information until this time.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got 13 of these. We've collected 12. There is a 13th one from what I have heard. I haven't seen it yet, okay?
Okay.
But what happens is when they get them all together, they get the spirits come out and they download, okay, the information that they have been keeping for so long. Now, the skulls that you see circulating around a lot of times, here in Sedona, people show up, with, come and see the crystal skull and have a little chat with it, I don't know where they're getting these things. They've got nothing to do with the skulls that the Mayans are talking about. Okay. And there are some Mayans that say there's no such thing as the crystal skulls, but I have heard that that is not true. Okay, there are a lot of, some of the Mayan tribes say there's no such thing. And the information that I've been receiving is saying that it's through Hunbat's men. I don't know if you've heard of him.
I've heard of him.
He is probably one of the most well-respected elders, and he's the one that's got all the stuff about the crystal skulls coming out now. So check in with him. And I'm not sure. I mean, of course, when you're talking about the elders, there's this thing, I have a tendency to fall into thinking that they're all these totally pure, completely enlightened beings. But there are factions within the elder community, too.
Right,
and the same types of things that you run into in any type of organization. So what I'm saying about the skulls, you're going to hear a lot of people disagree with that. But if you stay on the case and you keep doing your research, you're going to find out that what I'm saying is true. So that information
makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. These spirits...
It really does, because that coincides with the 13,000-year period.
Yes, that's right.
And the 26,000-year period, and the, 4.5 million-year period, and all the other periods that were...
Yeah, it totally fits in.
Yeah, I never thought of that before. It's an amazing connection.
Well, the other thing is, too, as far as the elders are concerned, I don't want to create the impression that I've got a hotline to them or something. I work closely with Drunvalo, so I have a good source for information. There is a lot that he is not permitted to share with people, and he's very good about keeping things that are meant to be kept secret to himself. But when the time comes, he is willing to share whatever it is that's passed on to him. And it was about a little over a year ago, that we did the Ancestors Gathering here, and all of the elders came to tell us the time had come. And basically that it was our turn to wake up, and that they had done pretty much everything that they could do, and that they were just going to go back to from whence they came and start preparing themselves, and they just prayed that we would find a way to go into our hearts and wake up. Now, there have been a few things that have come out that at one time they were planning to write a book and put all of this in writing. Weiser's was going to publish that book. Then they realized they didn't have enough time. All right. Okay, so they were going to do a video, and then at a certain point Hollywood got involved. And we haven't heard anything from them since. So.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I'm not sure what's up with that. I hope at some point they do come out with something, but so far I haven't seen enough to make me feel like they're talking about anything that they weren't saying a year ago. But I do know that the window of time between May, they were predicting a pole shift on the 10th of May, or somewhere between the 10th and the 15th of May this year, and we got past that point.
Yes.
Okay, but the question is, even if it's 20 years from now, we still don't have a whole lot of time.
Right.
Okay, that's how I see it.
Right, yeah, I agree with you on that one.
Yeah.
And it doesn't appear that we have that much time. Just if you just follow your gut feeling and look around and open your eyes, it's obvious that things are just literally unraveling at such a fast pace.
Yeah, it's really pretty wild.
And it's got to happen. I mean, the thing is that the financial system has to collapse at some point. It's not designed to last forever, and it's really a horrible travesty for the human race.
Oh, I know.
And it's just, there's so much corruption.
Well, I know. This whole business, I mean, you got to figure, it's got 13,000 years of momentum. Fueling all of this, and the belief that we have. I mean, the money thing is huge. And this, this whole business of the collapse of the money god. I mean, 2008, when everybody got sold out in the fall of 2008. Okay, since that time, basically, all of the efforts that they've been putting out to see if they can fool us into thinking that this isn't the last gasp for money have been just this battle between the old guard and the new paradigm. They're trying to tell us that money is still working for us, and it's not working for anybody but them.
Okay, right. And the game board is tilted so far in their favor that all the game pieces are falling into their lap, and there's nothing left for anyone else.
No, I know, and it's fascinating too, because if you just look at it that way, I mean, with everything sliding to the other end of the seesaw, it's obvious that things have to flip.
Oh, absolutely.
And this business of the pole shift, of freaking out about the cataclysmic aspect of it is understandable. But if you know what the elders have said is that more people die during a pole shift from fear. Than anything else. And the reason they're coming forward now is because they would like to help us understand what to do. And the mechanics of a pole shift are pretty simple. And I think that if you're a spiritually oriented person, that it probably could be the most amazing ride of your life.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
You have written about this in your book, The Weiser Field Guide to Ascension, and in such great detail and clarity, and kind of in a sense of exploration about about the possibilities and about what we know for sure.
Yeah.
And it's really a must read for everybody. Because it's like the handbook that could help us get through some very difficult moments when these things start to happen. Would you go into some detail about what exactly, when there's a
what the sequence of events is?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
it's very important stuff.
Yeah, I think so. Well, it's obvious now. They say the first signs that the poles are about to shift are when the outer systems collapse. We've been watching that for 2 years or more, okay? And then, this is just, the rundown that has been given to me or the way it's been explained to me. Approximately 5 or 6 hours before the poles actually begin to shift, the fourth and fifth dimension begin to bleed into the third dimension, and at that point you begin to see strange objects, shapes that are different than anything that you've ever seen in this reality, and their colors are very different too. Now, when you begin to see these shapes floating around, that's a sign that the magnetic field is just about to hit 0 point, okay? And because of that, you're going to start to feel really strange, all right? Very lightheaded, very disoriented. There is something that happens at this stage of the process because really what's going on is the magnetics begin to disappear here. Our memories disappear.
It gets wiped out, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Because everything, even our minds are polarized. And everything in this reality, in this dimension, is held in place through polarity. When things move into unity, polarity disappears. And so there is a lot of really strange stuff that goes on during this 6-hour period. So you will start to notice if you're in a crowd, for instance, people start acting really crazy. the mechanical devices that we use to